We're waiting for somebody to swing back up, and then we're going to jump in. Just waiting for Madonna and Zach to come back up.
I think you just announce and get started.
Get going? Okay.
Tell everybody to sit down.
Hi, everybody. Can you get seated if you don't mind? We're going to get started here. Well, welcome, everybody. My name is Michael Hughes. I'm the Development Manager for the Center of Innovation and Entrepreneurship at Harrisburg University. And we would like to welcome you to the inaugural LaunchU Military Accelerator finale. On behalf of the team here at the CIE and HU, thank you very much for being here today. This is the first program of its type for the university. And we're here today to celebrate the graduating class of 2023 of the Military Accelerator. What is the Military Accelerator? It's actually what we call a 7-week educational intensive. And the focus upon the program is to teach someone how to analyze products and assess the market viability of a product or an idea, and then look at strategies to take it to market. It is a practical education focusing on real-world experiences and approaches, and it's called an intensive because it's a lot of information in a shorter period of time. Today, you're going to join us as the graduating class presents their business concepts today. Before we get the project or program started, though, I'd like to introduce you to Jay Jamohan, the Executive Director and founder of the CIE at Harrisburg University, to come up and say a few words. Jay?
Thanks, Mike. The plan I had was, I would say, well, there is a final project that you guys haven't done that, I forgot, so I'm handing it to you. But then I thought, when we started the session, we had, I think, about close to 20 people registered. And then we sent out a syllabus in which I had here's how I'm going to grade the class. And I think 50% of the people just disappeared once that went out. So I'm not going to give you guys. But thanks again. This has been an incredibly rewarding session for me because I was sharing with a couple of people here that I teach in DC at Mason and the MBA program, and that's a completely different group of students. And I never know. Sometimes are they understanding all of the concepts? Are they getting it? But here, from the first session onwards, it was an incredibly rewarding feedback from the class. Many of you were very kind to tell what you thought about the class, the content that you felt, all of that. So I really appreciate that. So this is the first time we did it specifically for the military or the veterans group. So 3 things I want to tell. One is the idea was in DC, you constantly hear about all these veterans who have started businesses. And you look at majority of the veteran businesses, they are all service businesses that does something around technology serving back to the government. I had a chance to talk to a few people who I met who are from the Israeli Defense Forces or the IDF in DC. Many of them started big scalable business. So one of the guys, was the co-founder of Waze, the application that Google bought for $1.2 billion, right? So I was like, so if you look at a lot of the business they actually start businesses that are massive, scalable, that get outside investment versus the services business. So the whole concept of what we tried to do here was the veterans and the military bring incredible leadership, team building skills. Can we take that and put like a framework of how people like us have built software businesses that are scalable, gets outside investment, and marry the two, and you create this incredible group of people that will build the next big business in any region. So that was kind of the concept, and that's how we started out with, and I hope some of that, so this was the first time we did that. The second one was creating an economic impact in the region. I will mention Oliver, so it's so interesting in this region, like DC versus this region that I always get stuck with is in DC, Maryland, Virginia is called DMV, and there are ecosystems that work together between the three cities. Here, when I talk to somebody and say, hey, we're trying to do this, the immediate response is that West Shore or East Shore? Is that, York or, so it's like so small senders, and so it's almost like there is no crossover. So I think if you think about a big company that is created in this region, I think that will cross over the region. So that's kind of, again, the other thing. And the final thing is the ideas. You will hear some really interesting ideas. So I want you guys to think about this, right? So I being a software guy, an early startup guy, any new ideas, I always get very excited. So a friend of mine said, there's a company that's starting, which is planning to build electric aircrafts, single person, that will fly up to 10 feet, 20 miles per hour. The company is called Kitty Hawk. The founder is Larry Page of Google, and Boeing is a partner. So I gave $100 to book the first one from one of the first lot, right? I got this jacket, and Kitty Hawk folded, right? So this is what I got for $100. 2010 is when that company started. Another company, there's no parallel, but I'm just telling the other company that you guys have heard the story so many times. It's Insomnia Cookies. It started by Seth Berkowitz, a student at UPenn, and all he did was bake the cookies. That's it. On one side, flying single-person aircraft with Boeing and Google founder, and on the other side, baking cookies. The baking cookies company, Krispy Kreme, bought out them for $500 million. Kitty Hawk folded. So, it's really interesting to me to see. So I want you guys to listen to some of these ideas that these guys have. And I think there are some of them that would be really interesting that can create at least quite a few employment and have an economic impact in the region. So with that said, this has been very rewarding for me, and I look forward to having some of these guys come back and maybe incubate within our center and scale up your businesses. Thanks again. So when we started this, there was a concept that we thought we will get companies or foundations to sponsor so that the participants doesn't have to pay. And I'm new to the region, as I mentioned, and I'm trying to get my networks. And so I'm incredibly thankful to the few people that I talk to that comes out and helps. And Oliver Hoare from Wareheim Foundation is here. He was one of those few people that his first response was, we are all about York, unless there is, you're doing it in York or there's, and then, I kept calling him and he said, let me see what I can do. And he came along and really delivered. So I'm really appreciative of, and Oliver and Wareheim has been doing other bigger things in partnership with HU. So I want Oliver to say a few words about,
Thank you, Jay, for the kind introduction that you almost forgot. So yeah, I'm here on behalf of the Wareheim Foundation. The Wareheim Foundation was started by Bill Wareheim in Hanover, Pennsylvania. His family owned Hanover Foods. He went to work for his family. He very quickly realized that he was not interested in working for his family anymore, and he went off and sort of did his own thing. And through a lot of some good investments he made, a lot of luck, he did well in life, and he set up this little foundation before he died that one thing I'm willing to bet that he had absolutely no idea would grow to what it is today and have the reach and scope that it does today and be able to do things and support like this and support this program. So as Jay mentioned, yeah, the foundation it started in Hanover, and a very simple focus was the only thing that was handed down from Bill. Is that, Hanover and South Central Pennsylvania with a focus on Hanover. Now, over time, yeah, that has expanded out to other areas, and as Jay mentioned, he beat me up pretty good, and, we're doing some other things as well, of course. But, it's very important for us to, for the foundation as a whole to hit on certain groups. And Bill, as I mentioned, Bill didn't leave us a lot of guidelines, but we do know there were certain groups that he had supported in his life and were very important to him, and one of those groups is veterans, or was veterans, I should say. And so the Wareheim Foundation has continued to support various veteran programs since its inception, and all of us on the board were more than happy to support this program and are looking forward to continuing to do it in the future. So, happy to be here, excited to learn a little bit more about the presentations and the projects here, so thank you very much.
Thank you, Oliver. Thank you, Jay. All right, let's get into the meat of the program, or as they say, let's get the steak. We've got 4 presentations for you today, and each one of them is going to be 10 minutes long. And we're going to have Zach back there join us. The first one is going to be Morkeith Brown and Nick Burkholder and their concept. We're going to let you get them set up. Is it on?
So you guys just stand in front and present. I'm going to turn that monitor on so you can see the presentation.
I'm sorry, so get around, move around from behind. Yeah, okay.
All in the middle?
Yeah, you got it.
So is this turned on? So,
Yeah, so you can come right over.
right. I was hoping to be able to hide behind this. So, so, all right. So, well, good evening. So, I know this comes up all the time. We're not related. I'm Nick, and this is Morkeith, and he was the professional athlete, or is, so not me. So, all right. So, thank you. Oh. So, are there extra points for going first? Is that, something? Okay, all right. So, all right. Okay, we call the business Look First for Veterans. And there's a double meaning to the Look First. And like a coin, there's 2 sides to Look First. One side is for veterans, and the other side is for providers of products and services and employers. And in between the 2 sides, there's software to connect them. That's the basic concept of the business. So, now, first about the veterans. It's about veterans of every age and stage of life and situation. And when we started, it's hard to believe, it was 7 weeks ago here, all of our conversations that evening and, for the days and really weeks after that were about the veterans that were in bad situations. And this application is for that, but instead of providing a service for veterans that were in a bad situation, it was to connect veterans with trusted providers of products and services and employers when they need them and what they need, to enable them to engage with providers and employers, to ask questions, to give feedback, to make suggestions, and connect dashboard to dashboard. And if necessary, to also report that a bad thing has happened or might have happened. Because that's really important to vets, but it's also important to everybody, but it's really important to vets. And then on the organization side, it's to help providers and employers to reach veterans, to get in touch with them, to establish and maintain trust, to efficiently and effectively engage and connect with veterans, and to increase sales. You know, whatever your metric is, whether it's veterans served, you know, homes found for veterans, or profits, it's to increase that. And it's to improve recruiting and desired retention for employers, and then to maintain the most effective protection and notification system. And overall, it's to enhance trust, engagement, and performance in the veterans marketplace. Thanks. Now, like I said, we were talking about veterans in dire straits, in dire situations. We have pages of problems that we came up with that we wanted to address. And interestingly enough, you know, virtually all of them, and there's many more than that are listed here, they have the same root cause. They're associated with the T word, with trust, a lack of trust. So organizations that you don't know if you can trust, or organizations that let you down. So just some of these here. Veterans can't find trusted products and services or employers when they need them. You know, they don't have accurate information or up-to-date information about providers and employers. They have a right to that, but they don't have it. You know, they're not able to submit questions or feedback. The more important the information from veterans, the less likely it is that organizations acquire it and process it. And then these providers and employers can't effectively engage or connect with veterans. And that, you know, Yelp and Google and Facebook reviews, they're waning because they can be easily gamed. We all know those, I think we all know those stories about how that works. And they're particularly ineffective with vets. You know, and organizations, particularly small and medium businesses, don't have a system to report bad things, to prevent and to report bad things. And so that, you know, that increases the risk for these organizations. And they struggle then to acquire and maintain trust. This trust issue, this is a gnawing and growing issue. Thanks. All right. So this is the solution. Trust and results don't have to be a crapshoot anymore. There's a basis for them. Look for seals, and that's an example, or an indicator of trust, and a portal for veterans to access and submit important information and to connect. These seals link to listings that include product, service, employment details, credentials, and feedback, if there is available feedback. All of this technology uses a virtual delivery interface to enhance communications between veterans and providers and employers, and by delivering information securely and instantaneously from dashboard to dashboard. Any veteran can search and check, look first for veterans, providers, and employers, and easily add organizations or request that we add in organizations. And then the applications, they validate trust, facilitate engagement, protect individuals and organizations, and measurably improve performance and satisfaction. So that's what the solution is. All between the two sides of the coin. using this virtual delivery interface. Now, our sales and marketing strategy, you know, the first one isn't very highfalutin, you know. It's very basic, but it's important. We've got to show, and Marquis always saying to me, show me how it works, show me how it works. We've got to show, you know, how it works and how easy it is to use. Because if it's not easy to use, please, thank you, they won't use it. So, you know, there's no cost to individual accounts. You know, every veteran gets an account, their own secure dashboard. There's no cost for associations and groups of veterans. This will help us to drive as part of our sales and marketing strategy. So that includes the American Legion, the VFW, and Veterans Courts. So we will initially minimize cost and document the extraordinary value of the marketing and eliminating risk. We intend to partner with national and regional business and professional associations and groups of providers, including, you know, with a white label solution, ultimately with chambers of commerce, franchises, and then establish functional and geographic groups. Now, all of this, we're going to use the same model that Experian Partner Solutions uses for identity management. There's only one identity management organization really in the world. It's Experian Partner Solutions. It grew out of University of Texas, Austin. And they use service-oriented architecture to provide this white label solution for other organizations. And then we'll promote seal proliferation. Now, our revenue model, like with most software, it's a subscription basis. Automatic, monthly or discounts if paid annually. We're going to make extensive use of coupons. And then we're going to use the wholesale agency to use these third parties, again, like Experian, to drive participation. In terms of competition, there's a lot of information on the web, but it's not managed. The listing, questions, feedback, and suggestion markets are fragmented, and nobody is paying attention to the veterans. No competitor processes what is essential to trust, feedback, and notifications, let alone integrates them. And then this is, amazingly, would be the only organization in North America that facilitates feedback from all constituencies, including veteran consumers and the workforce. Google, Yelp, and Facebook dominate the small business search and feedback market, but are notoriously ineffective, particularly for veterans that have urgent needs. And then the hotline businesses, although there's more than 30 of them, they're not paying attention to this market. So that's our business.
Anybody have any questions?
Yeah, if somebody else could do some talking.
I have a question. I understand what you're going, and how do you foresee going after this market of veterans? How do you get to them to show them this, especially since we're dealing with a trust issue and they're not finding any place where they can go and get good information?
It's going to be through partners. Partners will give us credibility as well as participation. You know, we're speaking to the American Legion, and every American Legion post would get their own account, and we would follow that up with the VFW, all the providers to veterans. And then we would encourage even the government agencies that are doing things to participate and make it really easy for them to do this. Of course, then, you know, people that want to sell cars or want to sell any kind of product and services to veterans, we'll bring them in too. I mean, so.
Question for Morgan. You had a lot of questions in the class. So with this business idea, where do you fit in?
As far as me, I'm on both sides. But I was thinking as far as the business side of things, because everybody wants a return at the end of the day. So with the return, for instance, I was just speaking to the young lady back there about, we want to provide services for the veterans. So this comes to mental health, housing, food, clothing, health in general, family. So by just building homes alone, say you have a road, I went and got the respiratory list, for the city of Harrisburg, and there's plenty of land around here to boost the economy, what I mean, so we can make it not just look better, but actually, be more effective as far as a community when you bring veterans into the area. And so you got the contractors, you have the plumbing, you have everything that comes with building a home. Not only is that going to, aid the veteran, but it's also going to give you return as we're going to use, as you can use the government system as government housing, but it's just for veterans. So at this point, you can make from anywhere between $4,500 to $7,000 a month for a home for a veteran, and they give you that money as far as the company alone. So if the investors, want to invest into our company in itself, we can give them a certain percentage of that, the money that we're receiving monthly. And we're just speaking about, a 3-story home. It can be, and they're not saying the size of the home. You know what I mean? They're not saying I can't build a studio apartment, 2 studio apartments per floor, meaning I can get $4,500 to $7,000, for, what I mean, per apartment, which, what I mean, that's 6 apartments. And if I'm able to, if we're able to elaborate this to the particular, market as far as investors, and then they understand that where we're coming from, and then they have the connection as far as, because if we don't know where to go, they might know where to go. And, so with the idea alone, I feel like any investor it'd be wise of them to, go along with the idea alone. And I also printed out and got information about the list of the requirements for HUD-VASH, which is a government housing program for veterans. And that's my take on it. Yes.
Thank you, guys. Oh, do we have another question? Yes.
Can you just clarify, or maybe help me understand, how do they qualify, or what is the criteria that you're using to make sure that they're a trusted provider?
Well, that would come from, just it would go from the background check. The company, we would have to do our research on the actual particular company that wants to work with veterans. I know we spoke about, the issues that comes with the hotline. And so it would be, me personally, I would rather it be certified, qualified individuals, with some kind of medical background as far as the mental state, in order to be able to take these phone calls instead of you just hiring somebody, just making, the bare minimum as far as how much you make, a year. If you're only making $36,000 to, $48,000 a year, I doubt that you have a doctor's degree as far as mental health. So why not, everybody doesn't want to go into a doctor all the time. I mean, honestly, it's very, from the Harrisburg area, there isn't a veterans hospital in the actual city. You have to go all the way out to Lebanon or Mechanicsburg, I believe. So that alone would deter somebody from actually wanting to go out there because of distance alone. And then they have traveling, buses, but the whole, as far as the city in itself, the public transportation is not good at all. It's not ran like a Philadelphia or anything of that nature. So therefore, it would bring, again, we would have to get the investors involved to build, a hospital here for veterans, or veterans first. And then if you have, health insurance, you can also come, but it comes veterans first. They get first, just like when you go to the hospital now. If somebody has health insurance and then somebody doesn't, the one that has health insurance is going to get seen first. In this case, it would be veterans first. And then they will be able to go in there and get the mental health, needs in which they need, the help. you would lose your contract. Yeah, it would.
Okay.
Sir, I just had a quick one to add to that. It follows to her question. So the partner organizations, that's the key thing that he said to me. Anyway, I used to work for the state DFW headquarters. If he's got that partnership, we got a problem with one of the posts, we have disciplinary procedures in place for the organization. So if we're partnered with him, we'll take care of it.
Great. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
All right. We know we have 10-minute slots here. Sorry, that ran a little bit longer than 10 minutes. We'll try to keep these within a tighter time frame. Chris Cope and Delonte Palmer are here to present their concept. Oh, you got it, Senator?
Good evening. My name is Chris Cope. This is my partner in crime, Delonte Palmer. And we are 1%. We are a military-inspired lifestyle outfit company. We offer 3 outfits that rotate on a seasonal basis. One for active wear, one for casual wear, and one for an elevated look where jeans just aren't enough, but a suit is a little too much. What we identified was in the military, we are trained and taught to wear a uniform in a certain way. And not just taught, but we are checked daily sometimes, depending on your unit, right? And it's easy to wear that uniform. It's hard to wear it really well, but it's easy to wear that uniform. Somebody told you what to wear. You didn't have a choice. If I can share a little personal story. 2005, I'm in Iraq, in Baghdad, and my life is easy. Brutal, but easy. I come home and realized that the Army was making a lot of decisions for me. Not that I didn't know that already, but I didn't know the scale. So I get home, and all of a sudden, I don't know what to wear. I don't know what shoes to put on. I don't know where I'm driving for lunch. I don't know where my friends are going to meet me at. So it's an easy thing to get lost in that. A deployment is an easy life. You come home, and the coming home can be hard, and there's a lot of things that make it hard. We at 1% believe that we have a way to help soldiers kind of deal with a little bit of that stress.
To kind of touch on that problem, myself, I've been in a situation where just being in and out of units, we'll have moments where we all get together just for social gatherings. And I've been that guy that showed up in a hoodie, sweatpants, maybe a t-shirt, and then the guy next to me has a bow tie on. So it's just like an amalgamation of combined outfits, and no one really knows what to do with themselves. So it's just a situation that we've been in. So in this situation, the solution is to kind of come with 3 prepackaged outfits. Like Chris mentioned, an active lifestyle, casual for those gatherings, and elevated, either when you just want to leave a lasting effect, where you have an interview or some sort of presentation, such as right now. And the intent is to utilize crowdsourcing and just kind of engage in the community of basically what we would think would be the best trend moving forward, present that opportunity to get designers involved, and then whoever, kind of wins an operation, we choose them, and we go with that kind of style for the next season. Like I said, just 3 prepackaged outfits in order to simplify things and kind of fall into that cookie cutter mindset that we get when we join the military.
So we want to utilize our connections in the military that we have already to start to try and prove this brand. Our first year would be sales of t-shirts and merch surrounding the brand to get the brand name out there. Years 2 and 3, we would begin processing and sending our outfits. We would offer to our early adopters some of our outfits that are inconspicuously branded, and get those out there so that they can test them out, get the word out into the street, and then we would start year 2 and 3 with small partnerships, small markets, and then expect to grow into year 4 and 5 with some larger partnerships, which could possibly end up, if we prove our solution, could execute in some interest from larger companies, which could also end up in a buyout.
The revenue model for, as mentioned before, 3 packages, prepackaged. That'll include a jacket, an undershirt, and bottoms, depending on the actual situation at hand. Outfits will be subtly branded, nothing dramatic to where you're walking around and you can see, oh, this is Prada, this is all that, these and those. Just keeping it very subtle, and that also leaves the opportunity to kind of pair it with branches such as Army, Navy, excuse me, Air Force, all the above, and just kind of combine our logo with theirs, and it kind of gives that individual ownership of the branch that they particularly come from. So, if you're full Navy and, you're like, I don't mess with the Army, you have the opportunity to represent yourself with, our company as well. The outfit pieces, they're not sold separately. We kind of keep them prepackaged to, again, cater to that mindset of, hey, usually people pick this out for me. So, the competitive advantage, between our time in service, Chris and I managed to develop great relationships with strong people, and just kind of having the same the mentality of just pushing that extra 1% to be 1% greater every day. It just kind of comes with the uniform, comes with the mindset, and that's not even just military. That's just anybody in general who just pushes to do better. I'd say amongst all of us, we kind of have the same mentality as entrepreneurs, businessmen, all the above. So that kind of gives us a nice advantage in that situation, just because we've been around these people for a decent amount of time. I'd like to include like coaches, teachers, managers, all the above. They just kind of have the same mindset. So that's a competitive advantage at the moment. All right.
So why us, right? Why us 2 guys? Like Delonte said, we together have 30 plus years of experience in the military. We both have customer-facing jobs. IT, Delonte does IT. I worked as an LPN in the military and in the civilian side. That is customer service 101, both of those. We've bled accountability and responsibility for that time. So that's easy for us. We know how to take care of customers. Now we want to build something. So we built this. We want to build 1%. We want to build a product. We want to give a product back to the soldiers. Not just the soldiers, sorry. Anybody who spends their day in uniform. I'm talking USPS, FedEx, whatever. Anybody that lives their life or does their work in a uniform, we can give them something to maybe decrease the stress a little bit when they're out of work. So why is this a good thing to think about as an opportunity? There are brands that face the military like this on the outside in their civilian clothes. For an example, Grunt Style 2022 net sales of $58.8 million. So they're not just military focused. They are military and those that support the military and police and fire and et cetera. So the opportunity is there. Not everybody wants a Grunt Style shirt that says whatever Grunt Style shirts say. But they still want to be supportive and still want to be engaged and still want to show off their military lifestyle or their life, that active lifestyle in general. Yeah.
Could you slide back, sorry, if you don't mind. So yeah, 1%, as mentioned earlier, just kind of leverage our community connections and have the attachments with the designers to potentially give us that upper leg for the next released seasonally prepackaged outfits. We believe executing the solution could also lead interest to basically having a buyout to brands such as Nike, Calvin Klein, Target. I'll go on and say, like Express. Me personally, I used to go there a lot. H&M has kind of taken over in that aspect. It just kind of gives the ability for us to potentially have a wall in stores like that. So any sort of fashion brand shops I'm sure you've seen like a Nike wall or an Adidas wall. The goal is to have a 1% wall within these stores. And also that will create more foot traffic. You know, people go in and out of there a lot. They'll look to the left and say, hey, what's that? You know, maybe have something that they like as well. Also, just malls in general. So that's our goal, is just kind of plant our seed in the right location. People who have the same mindset, they'll adopt it and become it.
So these are the examples of our logos. Like I said earlier, inconspicuously branded. What I mean by that is, say under the collar of your suit, have the brand that you choose, have the identity that you choose. You don't have to have all one, and if you could take the labels away, you could identify those, right? You could identify those. If you believe in that, if you're part of that thing, you could identify that. So you could show it off in the gig line of your shirt, right? On the inside of your sleeve. The label could be in there, and you could show it off as you want, not emblazoned on the front of a suit, not emblazoned on the front of your jean leg. The t-shirts, right? T-shirts maybe on the back of your shirt, something like that, but inconspicuously branded. We don't want to create a target for somebody out there. We want to have them be proud of what they do.
And to Chris's point, it's more of a personal passion, you know, just something that you resonate with yourself. You're not out here showboating and saying, hey, I've done this, I've done that, looking for that, you know, attention. It's just something that you spent your time in there, and it means a lot to you, and it's something that you keep close to your heart. This is, as mentioned before, the store partnerships. Target, Macy's, H&M, Forever 21, Foot Locker, sneaker stores, I think will be a great position to place things like this. And then just malls like Nordstrom. And the model here.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, we give more, and get better, 1%. Yeah. I can't get my name.
Okay, we have time for a couple of questions.
I actually brought a box of these shirts here today, so if anyone would like them, please let us know. And we get 1% better every day.
Nice, we got time for a couple of questions. Paul?
So, I love the concept, right? Because, I mean, basically what you're trying to become is GQ for veterans and first responders, right? Tell them how to dress them, make it easy for them to get.
Easy.
And by the way, I really like the style with the black shirt, the jacket up top, right? And then my understanding was from the waist down is how you step it up, right? You're either going to be in jeans or slacks, and the shoes make the difference, right?
Right.
So, I think it's a great concept. I mean, when I got out of the military, it was always a question of what do you wear, how do you wear it, you know, when is it appropriate? And they made it easy for us when we were in, right? We had a working uniform, we had a PT uniform, and we had to dress up because they told you to uniform.
Mm-hmm.
There were three things, okay? So, and if you take a look at most people's wardrobes, that's exactly what they need to do, and you're helping them to fill in the blanks. Here's where I see the challenge is going to be. I know you'd love to create this brand, and you'd love to get purchased, but you have to capture the market. How are you going to capture that market? How are you going to get out to the veterans and the first responders and say, we're going to show you how to dress, and we're going to make it real easy for you to buy these things from us? How are you going to get to that point?
So we will start with PENGAS events. That's a nice military-facing PENGAS, NGAS, NAGAS, etc. These are associations related to the National Guard specifically. So that starts the wheel turning. There is also an AUSA, so that's bigger military. We have to pay to get in that door, to set up a wall, if we would there, to at least show them our product. So I guess that's my first answer.
Just initiating there between that and MWR services, you know, family gatherings, you know, recreational. Usually they have like a lead speaker, motivational. So that whole mindset just kind of falls into it. So we would just kind of show up, do a little pop-up shop action, and then from there just kind of integrate.
And locally, we would start with getting our product out there. First, building merch, the name, the 1%, selling merch around that. T-shirts, tumblers, etc. That gets the 1% name out there. Then the outfits start coming out after that.
So there's a lot of, when you leave the military,
Mm-hmm.
there are transition programs that they like to sign you up for.
Sure.
For a job, or do whatever.
Tabs.
That's where you plug in.
Walk into
You don't gotta dress,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, they let people come into that.
I'd love to see you be successful with this, because there's a lot of people
Thank you.
We got one more question.
Are you thinking of resticking just with men?
We brought this up early in our conversation, and right now it's just the guys. I would say that they have more trouble. So we're actually trying to help the women in their lives a little bit as well. On the slides, there's some boxes, and the outfits were labeled C3 2023, CA3 2020. So C would be the
So C is elevated?
C is our elevated look, A is our active look, B is our casual look, and then the number would correspond to the season. So A1 2023 would be the first season of 2023 and the active look. So the women in their lives go, hey, you know, put on that A2 or B3. Put on that 1% outfit you just bought, right? Where's your spring 1% outfit that, you know, whatever. And I think that makes their life end. But we did bring it up. We don't know how to tackle that. I guess maybe that's another answer to be, you know, transparent about.
Sorry, yeah, I think it makes sense, like, as you're starting to have more of that niche, that focus. But I think there definitely, I mean, I think about this, right? Like, I think all the time, I should just have kind of a standard uniform, so I don't have to think about what that's one less decision I have to make every day. So I'll just put it out there, something to kind of put in your parking lot.
Yeah.
I think there is a market beyond the guys,
Mhm.
but I think I get why you want to start there.
Yeah.
But no, I think there's room to expand.
Thank you for that. Yeah. Appreciate that. And same. Thank you. No.
I was gonna say, I think through the collaboration of designers and just kind of having that preset, like, hey, we're coming out with another package, and just kind of having that interaction, eventually we'll have a situation where we know how to design a women version, and then kind of go from there. A woman, yeah. So.
100%. I pitched my girlfriend. She's like, I don't need that. I'm like, okay, yes, I know you got to dress. I'm not trying to say anything negative.
Are you signing up to be a partner?
I mean, I need the service. I could be a tester for you.
Awesome.
Okay. Yeah. A model. Yeah. There we go.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Great presentation. All right. So next up is Corey Angel. Welcome, Corey. How are you? There you go. Enjoy.
Thank you. Yeah, I thought I'd mention, so we started this class. This class has been fantastic, not only because we've got good instructors, but we also have each other, which has been wonderful. And couple of my partners, when we started this, they weren't able to go all the way through the end of the project. I did reach out to some other veterans, though, that had background, and I wanted to tell you, what we looked at was security. If we get the first slide up. And the reason why we really picked security was because, well, we all had different ideas. We looked at the roster of ideas given to us for the class. And we said, you know what, the one thing that all of us have done, or at least in my group, and I'm sure it's probably true in this room, is work security. So we all knew something about it, and they train you a lot in security in the military. So it's a good job to always go to if you're a veteran and you're out of service now, you're no longer in uniform. Security is something that you could always do. We went with a motto of 360 security because, well, I was an infantryman at one point early in my career. You always need 360 security, okay? The idea came, though, really from some of the stuff that I was seeing at work. I go and I work at an athletic facility, and they have events there, and we have to provide security. And I saw it provided very poorly with people that were not trained at all. And it was because it was small venue. So the small venue stuff seemed to me like it was kind of fallen by the wayside. And we could see it in our research. Next slide, please. So I started looking based off of schools that had hockey events, because we have hockey arenas where I'm currently working at, and as I said, the security wasn't provided very well there. We looked at, well, what if you provided security at all the hockey arenas? Because the arenas don't provide the security the schools have to when they have the event. Now, we know there's other events, but we just
looked at that in particular, the sporting event, as the topic. Next slide. The idea that we had, though, was you've got guys in the military, male and female, they're coming off active duty. Maybe they're in the Guard and Reserve and they're in school at the same time, but they still need a part-time job. These are things that we've all experienced. And we thought they've got these great basic skills. They have first aid, they know CPR, they know some things about medical care. Like I was a combat lifesaver. I think we all ended up going through that at one point or another on our ways through Iraq and Afghanistan. So we have all these basic skills in security. Let's focus on hiring those guys, not just them, but let's focus on hiring those guys. And in this region, actually, you have the Army Depot, the Naval Depot. Got a lot of sailors inland here, by the way, with the Naval Depot. And you got Fort Indian Town Gap, which is the largest, most busiest National Guard training center in the nation. At least periodically it comes up as #1. It's always in the top, I think, 3. But anyway, we have the pool that we can recruit for personnel. We have to look at more venues that are similar, that are small, like the one that we've been looking at. But we think the market's there. And the problem, go next slide, sorry, before one of our problems does come in with how do you get to the people that need the service with the small venues. I think the schools, I know in the instance that I've seen before my eyes with the guards that were so inept, it was unbelievable. I think they just hired these guys, and I don't think they ever trained them at all. There was nobody there to supervise them. So these card companies, when you go through and you do the research, most of the money they're making it from bundling packages and services, and they're focused a lot on the IT side with IT security and armed guards. So armed guards are another thing that people tend to focus on. The unarmed guards, when you go through, it's a service that's provided. Nobody really, it's like ancillary. It's not something that's a focus. And I think what you're seeing is it's not provided well when it's provided. Next slide. So we did a breakdown. We had to look at, well, first, we won't want to pay the guards the bottom value. We had to look at, well, how do these guys get these contracts? If I have an event, how many guards do I need in general? What are the planning factors? What are the rules of thumb? What numbers can we match to things? So we had to do a lot of research, and we got the planning factors together, and we looked at, like, what would it cost if we wanted to pitch to this university. Alvernia I used as an example. If we wanted to pitch to them, we can provide that service to you. We believe that we're probably under cost and better value. But you're actually going to have somebody who knows what they're doing when they attend your event. And so that was what we aimed for. Low cost still, but higher quality guard. What we're finding is when you peek behind the curtain with some of these deals is that they're probably paying the guard like $10 and they're charging you 30 or 35 even. We want to even that out more. And we did a cost analysis and breakdown. Can I get the next slide, please? We looked at other companies, Allied Universal, St. Moritz. We see them around here, right around Harrisburg. Tri-State Enforcement. I looked at this, and I found it interesting. They're local here to Harrisburg. They only provide armed guards. They deliberately say, we're not in the unarmed guard business. And that's just one more example of how I think that industry-wise, that's kind of like not paid attention to so much. Looked at some of the larger companies. They offer all these packaged services. So we end up looking at everything. We think, well, you know what? If we look just at unarmed guard securities and providing a good quality service, we're maintaining blue Cs, which in our course, we're told we want to look for because we're the ones that are providing that service and nobody else is. You're fishing in blue water. There's not a bunch of boats around you. It's kind of the idea there. Could I get to the next slide? And then on the team, I put my team members down there that we started with. And I had Bo Zimmerman. You can see he's a unique guy. And if we were to do this, Bo's actually interested. He is very highly skilled, and he could actually provide a lot of good quality training to people at a low cost because of his background. And guys like him, he knows guys like him. So we're talking about this, okay? This started out as a class project, but we're actually looking at it. Next slide. Really, in conclusion, all I have to say is that if you watch the news, you'll see security as a topic quite often. You know, we're looking at Pennsylvania's really looking for a way for school security. Now, it wasn't something that we were looking at first because that's armed and everything. But there's other options out there. And threats, of course, the threats are up, right? Elevated in our current times. And we did some research and we found the industry's growing, okay? But as it grows, they do say, one thing that is apparent is, gee, it's hard to break in on this growth. The guys that are already there, they're just the ones growing with the industry. But we still feel that unarmed security at a high quality of service is needed, and we think that is still something that can be marketable. So that just more growth on the industry here, okay? But I think next slide, I think I might conclude my presentation here, but did you have any questions? Any? Yeah, okay.
Well, thank you, Corey. Thank you very much. All right, and we've got one last presenter tonight. Last but not least, Justin Ziegner.
Might be at least, who knows? There you go, Justin. All right, thank you, everybody. Just to start off, if anybody has been around the building and familiar with me, I do work here. I'm an instructor in advanced manufacturing. That's kind of the basis of where I started off this idea, this concept. So what I was looking at here is an unmet need with a skill that I would be able to bring to the table to make a business out of. So I looked at emerging technologies in the medical field. So those of you, probably, I don't know, maybe half of you, maybe more, on your wrist you're probably wearing, you might be wearing a smartwatch, you might be wearing a regular watch, but a lot of people, these smartwatches, these fitness trackers, they're keeping track of health data. Our phones, somewhere on here. Also, there's health apps, there's diet apps, there's something that we don't appreciate very much. There's things like Instagram, TikTok, those things. People are much more health conscious. They're much more engaged with health, and technologies are coming out and being introduced and being fielded that have changed the medical field. And in this area, in South Central Pennsylvania, I want to say it's very underserved as much as it is a very early stage in the fielding of a lot of this equipment. So, keeping in mind those things, some of the technologies that I'm looking to engage with is hyperbaric oxygen therapy, hydrotherapy, cryotherapy, low-level laser therapy, these red light therapy, if people have heard those things. There's not necessarily something that I'd want to operate as much as I see an area in the sales and support of those industries, because there's a lot of overlapping technology for these things. We're talking about electronics, motors, pneumatics, hydraulics. These are things that somebody who's familiar with technicians, skilled technicians, you can't find somebody to come out on a moment's notice to get, or if you can, it's very pricey. My concept is to overlap these technologies, build relationships with partners, with vendors, and with the clinics and spas, gyms, those places that are outside of the hospital region, outside of the hospital industry, and give technicians an opportunity to cross-train, learn about different technologies, be a one-stop shop for maintenance of these sometimes very expensive pieces of equipment. Next slide, please. So I talked about our problem. This is an emerging technology. I did a quick survey, or I did an initial survey of what types of these pieces of equipment. We can see a hyperbaric oxygen chamber here, cryotherapy chamber, underwater treadmill. And in the Harrisburg, York, South Central Pennsylvania area, there's a few places for almost all these places that serve these technologies, but it's very small compared to larger markets like Philadelphia, New York, even places with similar medical footprints like Pittsburgh. So there's somewhere in the range of 4 to 6 places that you could go to for hyperbaric oxygen therapy, 2 or 3 places that do red light therapy. There's reasons for that. Part of it is the supply, part of it's the demand, part of it is the logistics train of this, because these are expensive pieces of equipment. The equipment can break down, and if the equipment breaks down and you have to wait 2 weeks or 4 weeks or longer to have these things repaired, as a small clinic or longevity center or something like that, your business is significantly impacted. If you're in a hospital setting, those delays are mitigated by the amount of patients and the other services that you provide. In the small spa setting, or a small clinic setting, or physical therapy setting, these are significant capital investments. So one of the first things that I will be doing in developing a business out of this is developing the relationships with the leading vendors of this select group of medical technologies, so that the idea here is to not scare off potential investors or potential business partners by saying, hey, we do everything for everybody. Start small. Pick one technology, say hyperbaric oxygen therapy, which is, I think it's shown a remarkable promise in some areas that they make the news a lot for sports injuries, wound care. In the veteran community, we are very aware of things like depression, post-traumatic stress, traumatic brain injuries, those things. Pressure therapy, oxygen therapy, those things are areas where the research is showing the great promise. Also, longevity. So as people get older, especially in a region such as Pennsylvania, where there's a lot of aging residents, people are concerned about things like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia, and the oxygen therapy has clinical results that show that it shows promise. These things are in the mind of people as they get older, and as social media it creeps into our life wherever we want it to be or wherever we don't want it to be. We're very aware of these things. So my marketing strategy is first with relationships. Find those key vendors who are looking to establish a footprint in South Central Pennsylvania, or already have a footprint in South Central Pennsylvania, and they want to expand their market presence. Build those connections with the clinics, with the therapy centers, with places that are smaller than hospitals, and a lot of hospital or clinic groups have they have services that they're looking to grow into, or they don't know that they could possibly grow into, but because they're so concerned about what if this $40,000 or $400,000 piece of equipment that we have breaks. And then gain certifications. Another side of this is the skilled technician portion. Finding the certifications that say we're qualified to work on this equipment. We're qualified to come out, work on X, Y, and Z, and we have the skilled technicians. And by the way, where are we going to find these technicians? Well, I'm on my day-to-day job, I'm already training these people to do these types of things. So the revenue model is really a repeat of the previous slides, focusing on establishing vendor relationships and customer relationships. Once those relationships are established, we can look into service contracts, service calls. If anybody's had an HVAC technician come out to repair or just look at look at your air conditioner or your furnace ahead of the winter time, or if you're looking to have maintenance done on a regular basis. A lot of medical supply companies, their maintenance is really rudimentary. It's consisting of disinfection, equipment swaps, rentals, swapping out oxygen canisters. This is at a level that those companies, those established companies, really aren't positioned well to compete with. And then a competitive advantage, I was talked about competitors. There are vendors who offer service. Obviously, if you provide a $400,000 piece of equipment, you have to be able to service it. However, they want to sell more of the equipment that they build. Their interest isn't in the service end of it as much as it is getting more of those machines out there. And like I said before, traditional medical supply companies, they're looking at a different segment of the market. So just a little bit about myself. I said I'm corporate faculty at advanced manufacturing. I teach a lot of different courses. I've worked as, I actually was the interim program lead for a year as we were building and building our program, graduating our first group of students. And I work with classes all the way from the 100 level lefty loosey rightsy tightsy all the way through 400 level engineering life cycle and advanced robotics programming. Before I came here, I was 20 years working on a variety of different jobs, private sector, government sector, and just a little military thing, since this is a military accelerator. What did I do? I was an intelligence analyst. I look for patterns, which is where I saw this opportunity coming from, and I try and solve those problems. So that's what's next. Really, it's identifying those candidate partners, training, getting certified, finding out what those what customers, what vendors are interested in having this type of service, and developing those protocols and the training that would have to be ready for the typical malfunctions, annual maintenance, and repairs for those pieces of equipment, and then creating and maintaining those customer relationships. So, hopefully I didn't go over.
Right on target, Justin. Any questions for Justin?
Yes.
Hi, Justin. Would you start out in this region, hire, train up 1 or 2 technicians, service the products here, and then start rolling it out to other parts of Pennsylvania? What would your approach?
This is the business concept is very easily franchisable, and it actually works well as a franchise because what you're looking at is trained technicians and building a brand of trained technicians. And if you can find those people who are able to be skilled technicians, go out on service calls, be trusted to fix the equipment, and be efficient and effective, that's that in itself is its brand. So absolutely, it would be something you could have a training center that would be part of this. If those protocols aren't something that is that the vendors have developed themselves, it's something that I can come up with and develop with my own experience and expertise.
I think you're in a unique position with access to young, talented, technical folks.
Well, I had to be careful because I don't want to poach the talent before they graduate.
Any other questions? Thanks again. Thank you very much. Okay, we got another little thing to do here. We'd like to invite Nick Burkholder and Chris Cope up here up front with me. And we were actually going to have them both come up and tell you a little bit about their experience, but instead we decided to bring them up together and ask them a couple of questions about their experience so they can tell you a little bit about the program and what they enjoyed. So first question to you is, as you look at the Accelerator program, what was it about the program that surprised you?
For me, it was being exposed to a master's level course. That to me was a little surprising. I did not expect that. I expected it to be, here's a business model, so-and-so down the road is a business model. And I've learned that before, I've heard that before, I've been exposed to that before. So that was the thing that, yeah.
I'm surprised at how well-dressed everybody is. So, I was unsure as to whether or not I would have, I'm still traumatized by trying to learn differential equations, and I was kind of worried that I was going to face that a little bit too. And, and then how could I, assimilate this information? And it was just like, suddenly it was a whole new world. The instructors just, I feel like I learned another language and maybe culture or something. So that's a.
Well, and the second question, what do you think was the most useful thing that you learned?
So you promised me that you wouldn't ask me anything that'd be embarrassing. I think that to look at to look at things from the customer's view. I mean, there's that desirability point. Does the customer want it? And I was like, what? I've done all this research. I've developed this. I tested this. I know. And then, very patiently and thoughtfully, and that's just one example. So it's like, quickly learning a new language, a new perspective. That's all. So.
Can you repeat the question?
Yes. What was it about the program that was the most useful for you?
I got a lot better at teams. That's definitely started out. I wasn't great at teams. Delonte helped me out there a little bit too. I guess, creating some flexibility. I have my own business, and I'm really focused down that path. But having a new idea come out, and okay, let's try and flesh out this new idea. Let's try and make something that's usable. Let's, interacting with somebody else. My business is my business, so I don't have other people in that business. And working with a partner and having their ideas and watching them be more creative than me, and I think that was most useful. Is that what we're looking for? Yeah, most useful for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then one last thing, if you wanted to just tell us about the program, anything in particular you wanted the people here tonight to know about the program.
I think it's worthwhile. I think exposing veterans to this is a good thing. Whether they're interested in starting a business or not, they might not even know that they are, but I think it's something great to expose them to, because it really just puts your mind in a different place and allows you to interact with other people and start to try and create something new. And I think that's important. It's something that's easily pushed out of your life when you leave the military. And I think that was a good part of it, yeah.
Yes, and I think even if you're not going to have a startup, it's worth going through, because it really helps you see, the world, the business world, transactions entirely differently. The classes were just wonderful. I had to miss one, but fortunately it was taped. And that got me to watching them again. I mean, I have all the documents and everything you passed out, but the classes were, worth having online and watching again. So.
I also just like hearing Jay talk. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. He's pretty good, isn't he? Well, thank you, guys. Thanks for coming up. Well, we're going to wind down here. I'm going to have Jamal Jones come up and join us for a second to say some words and close down the program. Oh, yeah.
Thanks, Mike. Yeah, I'll hide behind the podium. Thank you. As Mike said, I'm Jamal Jones. I'm the program manager at the CIE. So I'm here to put a bow on this thing for us so we can move on to some refreshments. But on behalf of our team, we wanted to thank you all for being here this evening. We want to congratulate our program participants. From the presentations that we saw tonight, it's evident of the amount of work and preparation that you put in, so thank you all for that. We hope it was a great experience for you. And just wanted to let you know that, if you want help beyond this, if you want to continue to work on your ideas, or if you have other ideas, we're here to support you, so stay in contact with us. The Military Accelerator is just one of the programs and resources that we offer at the CIE. In January, we'll begin taking applications for our 5th annual LaunchU student Shark Tank pitch competition for high school and college students. Once again, that program is sponsored by the Hershey Company, so we're really excited about our 5th competition there. Then early in the coming year, we'll begin a series of workshops covering sales, accounting, and legal assistance for founders. So be on the lookout for more information in the coming weeks. Again, thank you all. Thanks to the Wareheim Foundation for your support, and also to our friends at M&T Bank seated in the back there. And we look forward to doing this again next year. So as I said, please stick around and join us for some refreshments, and thank you all for being here.